So you've designed a stunning website, and you've even taken the next step and built the whole thing out in a no-code tool. It looks fabulous, you launched it, but then you're not getting any traffic because nobody's finding the website. Well, that's because you didn't take the time and do any search engine optimization. But Jesse, I'm not an SEO specialist. That's not my job. Actually, it is, at least a little bit. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you the 5 basic things that you can do to make sure that your websites are search engine optimized. All right, the first way that you are going to increase your search engine optimization is by making sure that you have quality content on your website. Search engines are a service provider, and the service that they're providing is your content, and their users are the people that are searching. So they're going to vet out bad information versus good information to make sure that their customers are happy. And so we can't just stuff our websites full of images or keywords in hopes that it'll trick the search engine to bringing people our way. It actually has to be quality content. Now, it's really, really technical the way that they do that, but they recommend an acronym of 4 letters to help you and I understand what good content really looks like. And that acronym is the EEAT guidelines or method, and that stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. So here's a couple ways that you can implement this EEAT acronym on your website to make sure that you're optimizing for the search engine. You can create a section on your website for testimonials and reviews, or you can create an About Us page that describes who you are, what your brand or your product does. This is going to be super helpful for the search engines. You can include author biographies and author pages. You can cite interviews and trusted sources. You can display relevant contact details. You can create relevant content that others can backlink to as a source. And you can include engaging videos such as tutorials that highlight your expertise. Next up is to make sure that your website's content is readable. Readability is the practice of ensuring that the text on your website is legible for all sorts of users with or without disabilities. So while choosing which font is the best font for your website, a very design-oriented part of the design process, it not only affects your site's visual allure, but it's also branding, its user experience, and it's indirectly SEO related. There's no explicit rule book for making sure that your text is readable, but here's a couple of helpful guidelines. Make sure that your body text is no smaller than 16 pixels. That is just what is readable for body content. Use fonts with simple patterns and shapes. Don't use real big swoopy things that you found on duffont.com. Stick to the basics. Make sure that you're creating contrast between the color of the text and the background to increase readability. Next tip is to use headers to create hierarchy within the content. When the bots for the search engines scan your website, much of how they comprehend your content depends on having a logical structure of headings, subheadings, and body copy. Google's algorithm is trained to look for hierarchy and a logical flow of text and images to understand that your site's content makes sense. For example, if you're reading a blog article on how to build a house, you could imagine your H1 saying 10 amazing steps to help you build your first house. Your H2 might say something like your foundation, one of the most important pieces of your house. And your H3 might say the 5 most important things that have to do with your foundation. It's a logical flow that a user can read right through. SEO tip number 4 is to make sure they fill out your website's metadata. Metadata refers to the descriptions added to each of your site's pages, images, and pieces of content that help to summarize the information included inside of it. While they're not visible on the page, they are included in the code. To optimize your site's metadata, you can use a content management system like you can do inside of Wix Studio to actually build out a database of content that includes all of this metadata. And at the very least, you want to make sure you include these few pieces of core metadata. Number 1, you want to make sure that you have the title tags. Title tags are like headlines that show up and link directly to your website. Make sure that your title tag is catchy, it includes relevant keywords, and accurately describes the content on that specific page. Number 2, the meta description. Descriptions are generally up to 160 characters, and they provide visitors with further information about your brand and website, the product, and the content on the page. Alt text is a descriptive text added to your website images, whether your image is decorative or product-oriented or part of a portfolio gallery. It's a detail that should be added to every single image on your site because it's going to help provide enough context for individuals using screen readers to understand the purpose of the image. Last SEO tip of the day is to make sure that you're practicing internal linking. Internal linking is the practice of connecting pages of your website with other pages of your website. Alongside your website's main navigation menu, internal linking is a huge part of your site's structure. It allows your users and the search engines to seamlessly flow from one page to another, exploring your content in depth. Imagine yourself in a physical retail store and you're looking at a product you really like. Maybe it's a t-shirt or a hat. It would be nice to know that there are related items or things that relate to this right next to it. That helps my shopping experience. It's going to help the search engines and the user's shopping experience when it comes to your content. Here's a couple of tips to help you with your internal linking for your website. First up, make sure that every page on your website has at least one internal link pointing to another page somewhere else on your site. Next up, think strategically about these internal links. Don't just grab any old piece of text and link to somewhere else. Make sure that whatever those keywords are that you are linking makes sense to get the user to that next piece of content. Internal linking can be more than just hyperlinks. By highlighting a piece of text and turning it into a link, you can actually use decorative buttons, images, triggered animations to engage users while uplifting your site's aesthetic. Well, that's it. Those are the 5 basic tips on how to increase the SEO of the websites that you design and build. If you have any questions, leave those down in the comments and check the description for some helpful links on SEO, no-code builders like Wix Studio, and a whole bunch more. Also, if you're hungry for some more content, check out this video or that video, and I'll see you in the next one.